Where might I find Mrs. Ratchet?
She lives in some East End hovel.
The East End is vast. Where exactly?
Pratt would know. Well, ask Sir Avery. He's palsy with her. Is it any wonder respect for the British Empire is on the wane? She's the char. I ask you, for heaven's sake, I don't take tea with a woman.
Fortunate for her. Describe her, please.
She's a plain woman.
Brilliant. Colouring, height, weight, facial shape, teeth, distinguishing characteristics?
Who notices such things about the char?
If you don't want to be parboiled, you better have noticed something.
On her tea breaks she reads. Everything. Reading all the time, classified documents for all I know. And it makes her squint badly. Probably needs spectacles. Are my eyes starting to bulge?
Not to worry, Mr. Whitney. You're a fine shade of lobster pink. When did you last see Thomas Pratt?
I truly can't recall. Except when we pass in the hall or exchange duties at the desk. We had only Nevilles in common. Turn down the heat, will you?
Thomas Pratt has been found dead, Mr. Whitney.
You don't say. Well, nihil nisi bonum de mortuis, but I suspect he had numerous unfortunate habits and the associations to match.
Would you care to elaborate on that obloquy?
The truth defames no one. He was an unhappy man, and I'm sure he indulged in drugs. Died by his own hand.
Hardly. He was assassinated. To punish him and complicate his identification, his face was obliterated. The bullet nearly blew his head off.
Why?
Because he knew something he should not have known. If you're involved in anything you shouldn't be, have a care, Mr. Whitney. Can you conceive of a connection between Pratt's murder and the stolen formula?
There isn't one.
How can you be sure?
I didn't just fall off the back of a turnip wagon. I am mentally acute.
That is palpably false, but for the moment I'll assume you're simply ignorant of a connection. Our conversation thus far has been neither difficult nor painful. It can become both, if you insist.
I have nothing more to say to you on any subject. Just replace my towel and leave.
There are few things I appreciate less than being lied to, Mr. Whitney.
I'll try to remember that.
Test my patience and I'll make certain you never forget it. Could July on the Ubangi be any more unpleasant than this?
Heat appeals to many persons, Holmes.
Laplanders might be happy for the change, I suppose, but only masochists would find it pleasant.
Is anyone whose preferences are at a variance with your own by definition aberrant?
Being the supreme arbiter of right thinking and behavior is a terrible burden, Watson. An awesome responsibility.
I'm pleased your sense of humor has not deserted you completely.
Ideas, Watson?
I'm afraid my brain's on the boil, Holmes.
Please show me in. I have tragic news for Lord Lawton.
Did his favourite nag break a leg?
A colleague of his named Pratt has been found murdered.
Young Master Thomas. I am sorry. He was a nice boy, troubled but kind. In the old Lord's day, he was often here. Haven't seen him in years. No, my lord, I will not. Mr. Holmes and Dr. Watson, my lord.
My position requires further reflection. Billiards is fascinating, don't you think? I'm sorry to inform you that your friend Thomas Pratt has been found dead.
Really? How unlucky. We were at Cambridge together, but I barely knew him. You might as well offer your condolences to the ministry char. How did he die? Heart failure?
Yes, it stopped after he was shot twice in the face.
Pity. He had such a beautiful face.
And a rose tattoo on his backside.
I'm sure I don't know, though I'm not surprised you do. Your type specializes in the nether regions.
Your colleague should know of Pratt's condition and other developments. Where might I find Sir Avery Fanshawe?
He took Brumwell's old pile in Chelsea. Wife is infatuated with redecorating. He'll be riveted by the news if you can wake him.
And Philip Bledsoe?
Haven't a clue. Heard the unsociable lout has chambers in Gray's Inn.
How about the clerk, Eldridge Whitney? Do you know anything of his whereabouts away from work?
The pathetic sod keeps a cot at the ministry, uses a public bath as his dressing room.
What do you think is the connection between Pratt's murder and Formula's disappearance?
There is no connection whatsoever.
I must now decide whether you are remarkably unimaginative or a liar. Perhaps both.
I don't have to tolerate insults in my own home.
I'm sorry. Tact has deserted me. There is no doubt that Pratt's execution and the theft of the formula are related, Lord Lawton. If Pratt was not the thief, he knew who was.
So you say. The problem is, no one, your brother included, has conclusively proved that the formula was stolen.
What a surprise. The body charged with making that determination cancelled its inquiry almost as soon as it began. I ask again why the investigation was terminated.
There is no need to make mountains from molehills. Bring the ministry into disrepute every time some papers are mislaid. Go there yourself. You have my permission. You'll see what sort of place it is. Despite your brother's efforts, it's not terribly well ordered.
You expect the formula to turn up, then?
I think it probable. Well, it's a definite possibility at the very least. A clerk may have misplaced it, or the char, or one of the members. Stop grilling me and go bother them, or better, return to your own affairs.
Just so you know, Lawton, the discovery of the formula would not complete this investigation. We are far beyond the resolution of a simple theft. You neglect this fact at your peril.
If you want someone to bully, bother Fanshawe. Or Silverbridge. He initiated the call for termination. Rake him over the coals. I have nothing more to say.
Your employer was less than forthcoming about Mr. Pratt, Jenkins. I wonder if I might have a private word.
Possibly. Highly irregular, probably disloyal, but possibly. I liked that boy.